All right, in the last video, we created our about page and we added the responsiveness. We used the grid template areas. Now we're going to create our, our work page. So let's create in the dist folder a file called work.html. And we're going to let's copy the about page actually. So we'll grab everything that's index. Let's grab everything that's in about and let's paste it into work. Okay, and we'll close this up. And let's go up to the top. Let's change the title to, we'll just say view my work. And let's change the current class from the about to work. So right here. Okay, and then we'll go down here. Let's change the LG heading to my, and then secondary will be work. Let's also change the ID here to work. And let's see, for this, for the little subheading, let's say check out some of my projects. All right, and then let's see, we're going to use the grid here as well. So I'm going to, this div with the class of about info, I'm going to change this to projects and then just get rid of everything in it. Okay, so this div ends here, so everything inside projects, let's get rid of. All right, we want the footer the same, that's fine. So in the projects, we're going to have a class of item. We're going to have a bunch of these, but I'm going to create the first one first. So item, inside here we'll have just an A tag that doesn't go anywhere, so I'm just going to put a number sign and an exclamation, and this will be the image for the project. So it's going to be image. It's going to have, actually it's not going to have a class. The source will go to image / remember we have that projects folder, and then we have project1.jpg. And then for the alt, I'm just going to put in project. It doesn't matter. So inside the item, we have the link around the image. Now under that link with the image inside of it, we want to have an A tag with the class of btn-light. So we're going to create some button styles. Okay, so btn light, like that. Doesn't matter where it goes. And then inside this btn light, let's put an icon. So I'm going to use an icon with the class of FAS and the class of FA-I, like that. And then next to it, we're going to say project. Okay, so that's the link for the project. Now I'm going to copy this A tag here, put another one below it. I'm going to change it to button dark. And then we're going to change this to FA-GitHub because we want this to be the GitHub icon. And then we'll change the text also to GitHub. Okay, so if we save this and we go to my work, it's going to look horrible. Okay, the image is full size, but don't worry about it for now. For now, we just want to copy the div with the class of image, this whole thing here. And let's see, we have, how many do we have actually? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these. So let's do 5. So that's 1. Let's do 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, now we want to change a couple things. Actually, we just want to really change the image of each one. So we have project 1. Second one will be project2.jpg. We can keep this stuff, that's fine. Project 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so if we save that, we're just going to have 3 huge images with this text here. But that's pretty much it for as far as the HTML goes. So we can actually close that up. We can close up about, and let's open up main.scss, and we want to start working on the projects area. So down below, let's go above the footer. I like leaving the footer at the bottom. Let's go below the about CSS that we did, and let's say work / projects, and we have a class of projects. We're going to display this as a grid. So display grid. I want to shrink the images down real quick before we do anything else. So all the images that are embedded inside projects, we want to set the width to 100% of its container. So let's save that. That'll shrink it down. All right, now for the grid, we want it to be by default three fractionals across. Okay, so 3 images or items. So let's say grid dash template columns, and let's set this to, just like we did before, we'll set it to repeat 3 times 1 fractional, like that, and save. Okay, now we want a little bit of a gap as well, so let's say grid gap, and let's do 20 pixels, like that. What else do we want to do here? Let's add a border to the image. So right here we'll say border, and the border for the images, I just want to be white. They don't have to be a special color. I want the hover to actually be the secondary color, but by default let's make them white and solid. Okay, like that. And then let's do the hover of the images. So inside here we'll do ampersand colon hover, and we want I'm going to actually make the opacity of the image. We'll say opacity. Let's make it 0.5 when we hover over it, and then let's make the border dash color. So we just want to affect the color, secondary color. And then let's do the transition as well, so we can simply include the ease out. And now if we save and we hover over the images, you can see it fades, the opacity fades in, we get the transition, we get the yellow border, and so on. All right, what else do we want to do here? Obviously we want to do these buttons, but actually I think the grid gap, I used rem units originally, so if we want to change that, let's do 0.7 rem, like that. There we go. All right, so let's do the buttons. Now, I'm not going to embed the button light and the button dark into the projects, because I want to be able, if we wanted to use these buttons anywhere else, I want to be able to do that, not just within projects. So we'll go down below here and let's say button styles. Okay, you could even create a button.scss if you want. You could do like how Bootstrap does, and every little element create a separate Sass file, but I don't really like doing that. So we're going to use a little bit of inheritance here. So I'm going to do a class of BTN. Now notice we don't have a class of BTN attached to anything, but I want the button light and the button dark to have some similar styles. Wait a minute, why isn't that GitHub showing? Let me just check that real quick. I think fa-github. What? That should be showing iClass fa GitHub. The heck? Let me just double check this. Oh, it's FAB. So when you use social media icons, it's not FAS, it's FAB. So for the first class. So we just want to change those. All right, there we go. All right, so back to where we were. So for the BTN style here, this is like we're gonna create some basic styles for both buttons, and then extend this class into button light and button dark, and you'll see what I mean. So I want to display these as inline dash block. Okay, so that they're on their own line and they go all the way across, and then padding. We'll say 0.5 rems, and let's do 1 rem. And border, I'm going to set to 0, no border. We want to have a margin bottom of 0.3 rem. And then I also want let's see, we want a hover effect, so we're going to say in here ampersand hover. And let me just check this real quick. Yeah, so if we hover, either one, we want the secondary color for the hover. So let's say right here, background. We're going to set that to the secondary color. And let's also set the color to our set text color function and pass in secondary color as the background. All right. Now, we want to extend this into button, because remember, if we look at our HTML, if we look at our work.html and we look at the buttons, it's BTN dark and BTN light. We're not using BTN at all. So in Sass, we can extend this class. So we want to go underneath it and say BTN-dark, and let's add BTN-light. Okay, now I want to take all of these styles and extend it into these. So I can just simply say @extend, and we want to extend the BTN class. All right, so we want to put this in both of these. Now, if I save this, now that those styles are getting put on both of these. Now, what is different about these is obviously the colors. So we want to add separate colors. So let's do background. So this is the button dark. So I'm going to do, let's see, for button dark, let's say darken. We'll say darken, and we want to darken the primary color. And we want to darken it by 50. All right, and then let's set the color of the text to 333. So let's see what that looks like. That's not right. That's because this should be white. There we go. And then for this one, let's just copy what we just did here and go to the light. And instead of darken, we're going to use lighten. Okay, lighten primary color by 50. And color for the text will be 333, and save. There we go. Let's see, that's still not right. You know what? We don't want to display inline block. We want to display as block. There. All right, so that's good. That's what we want. Now, if we look at the other page, it's identical, but if we were to stretch this, stretch it out, it stays at 3. I actually want four columns, 4 items on big screens. And then if we make it smaller, we want it to be 2, and then very small 1. That's obviously not doable. So we need to make this responsive, right? So let's go to our mobile.scss. This is where we make everything responsive. And let's start with the extra large, because on extra large, I want there to be 4 items per row. So to do that, we're going to say .projects, and we're going to just change the grid template columns. Okay, so we're going to change it to repeat, and instead of 3, we want 4 fractionals, 1 FR. So I'll save that, and now if I make this bigger, it gets to 4 when it's like whatever we set it to, 1171 for extra large, something like that. So that takes care of the extra large. For large screens, I want 3, so I guess I'll just grab this and put it inside here. And we'll just change that to 3. Whoops, not 2, 3. Okay, and then let's see, for medium screens, I want it to be 2. So media MD will go to the bottom of that, which ends here. So we want to make sure we're inside of it. And we're going to change this to 2. Okay, and then for small screens, we just want 1 fractional. So we don't even need the repeat. We're just going to do 1 fractional. Okay, let's save. So this is a large screen, or is this medium? Medium is right here. That's right. So 2 on medium. When we get to small, turns to 1, and it's stacked. Awesome. So now that's completely responsive. So that's done. Let's go ahead and just do a quick commit. Git add all. We're going to git commit. And let's see, we added the work page with grid. We'll just say work page and responsiveness. Okay, so now what we want to do is create the last page, which is the contact page, which is pretty simple. So in our dist folder, let's create a file called contact.html. And basically we're going to use Flexbox for this, just to create these boxes. So if we look at the page here, you can see our boxes. So let's copy from about. We'll grab everything from about, paste it in contact. Let's go up to the top, change it to contact me, and let's see, let's move the current class right here off of this nav item onto the contact or how to reach me nav item. And then down here, let's change the ID from about to contact. We'll change this to contact and then me. That's fine. Let's see. For the H2, we'll say this is how you can reach me. And then under that, we basically want to get rid of everything under that. So actually what I'll do is change the about info to a div with the class of boxes and get rid of everything within that div. So that div ends right there. So let's grab everything in it and get rid of it. So now we just have this boxes div. And in each one, it's going to be very simple. We have the email, the phone, and address. And we want the heading, like email, to be yellow at first. So let's put in an H2 here. So div class boxes, actually we want a div within here, and then no H2. I don't know why I said that. We just want a span with the class of text secondary. Okay, and here we're going to say email. And outside of the span, we'll put, let's say, whatever, johndoe@test.com. So that's our email. Then we'll copy this div. Let's close this up to give us a little more room. So let's copy this div. We'll do 2 more. Okay, the second one is going to be his phone number. And then this last one is going to be the address. So I'm just going to make an address up. I'm going to say 50 Main Street, let's say Boston, Mass. 02101. And that's it. Let's save. If we go and look at the page, it's just going to look like that. So we want to add some styling to this. So let's go to our main.scss, and we want to go down to the bottom. Let's see. Let's go right under. We'll go above the button styles. Let's go right under the work projects page, and we'll say contact page. Okay. So we have a class of boxes, right? So let's say boxes, and we want this to be a flex container. So we want to say display. Instead of grid, we're going to use flex. Now normally I'd probably use grid because that's what we're using on the other pages, but I just wanted to kind of throw this in here because I want it to be just a mix of different technologies. But you guys can do what you want with it after. So we're going to say flex-wrap so that when it gets too big, okay, so like when they don't fit, it's going to just go like onto the next line like that. So we want it to flex wrap. We want to space the content evenly in between, so we can justify content and we can say space evenly. That's what we're going to choose. And then I also want to align the items to the center. And then let's just do a margin top for when they're stacked. I want to do a margin top of 1 rem. I'm sorry, not when they're stacked. This is for the actual boxes, so this is for the top here. All right, so let's go ahead and save this and see what happens. So when you do display flex, it's automatically going to align them this way. All right, now we want to do each div within the boxes class. So in here, we're going to say div, and let's do a font size of, let's say, 2 rem. Let's do a border of 3 pixels, white, solid. Let's do padding. For padding, we'll do 1.5 rems and on the top and bottom, and 2.5 excuse me, on the left and right. And then let's do margin dash bottom 3 rems for when they're stacked. Okay, now we're going to have a hover effect, and I do want it to kind of to have that ease out transition, so I am going to add that mix in here. I'm going to include ease out. So now let's take care of the hover. Actually, let's save it, see what it looks like. Good. So, and you can see if we make this bigger, it goes like that, okay? So the wrap causes it to kind of knock down. So for the hover, we want to be inside the div, and we want to do an ampersand colon hover. And let's do padding 0.5 rem top and bottom. Let's do 1.5, because what I want to happen is when we hover, I want the padding to change. I want that effect like that. Okay, so I'm changing the padding on hover. And you don't have to do this. It's just something, I don't know, just something to add. So 1.5. Let's also change the background to be the secondary color. And let's see, we want the color of the text to use that set text color function. Okay, so set text, you can see we're using this all over the place. So set text color, and its background is secondary color, so we want to put that in there. Okay, and then for the span, because remember the email, phone address, that's inside of a span, and we don't want that to be yellow. We want that color to change as well, or else we won't see it with the yellow, with the secondary color background. So in here, let's just say span. We'll nest this in here like that, and we'll simply say color. We'll just copy this. Use the set text color. Okay, so let's save that, and now if we hover over it, you'll see we get that effect. Okay, make it bigger. All right, so pretty simple. And there's nothing we need to do to make it more responsive, because you can see it just stacks automatically and it looks good. All right, so that's it, guys. Whoops. That should actually go to, whoa. Oh, I guess that was cached or something. The home page, why is that going there? Let's change that. Why is that going there? It's because we need to actually change it to go to index.html, I believe. Yes, and I think we have it going to slash. Yep, let's change that. So for each menu item that is for the home right here, we have to change that to index.html. So that's contact. Let's go to about. Change it here. Let's go to, what else do we have? Index. And work. All right, save that. Let's close these up. And I think that's it, guys. So I'm just gonna make a quick commit. And I'm just gonna say initial website finished. Okay. All right, so in the next video, what I want to do is deploy this thing. So we'll do that next, and we should be finished up.